No, so okay, the slides aren't that professional. I actually 2 weeks ago taught this course at Teesside University. So when you're like, you got to talk, I'm like, yes. So there's a lot of slides that are offering you advice on how to get a job in the Northeast. We're going to avoid them. We're going to avoid them. So yeah, hi, I'm Sarah. I'm sorry I just rattled in halfway through Danny's speech. I'm so sorry. That's very rude. I'm running a bit late. But yeah, I'm a kind of freelance writer-director. That's what I do about half of my time. Other half of my time is bill-paying jobs of all different descriptions. Right now I'm working for the Glasgow Short Film Festival as one of their marketing people. That's next week, which is why I was late, because it's now shit's getting real. So yeah, this presentation was meant to last an hour. When I did it, it lasted an hour and 20 minutes. I have 10, so we're going to be going whistle stop. If anyone wants these slides, they can have them, and if anyone wants my email and say like, what the fuck were you talking about, you can have that too. So yeah, just a little bit about me. I just whacked my bio there. So writer-director based in Glasgow. I've worked on a lot of short films that have gone to lots of BAFTA qualifying festivals. I've made work for BBC The Social and Short Stuff. Our views for that have been great, which has led to further commissions, taking characters we tried out in sketch comedy and then taking them onto TV commissions, which was great. I'm working towards long form. I've been involved in a bunch of cohorts. I was part of the BBC Comedy Collective this year, which was an amazing opportunity. There's a show that's just come out called Things You Should Have Done, which I was the shadow director on, and I got to be second unit director as well as part of that shadowing scheme. Been on a shit ton of development things, such as the Young Films Residency, BAFTA Flair, the Edinburgh Film Festival Talent Lab, and the Comedy 50/50 Pilot Initiative. And I'm just desperate to get my first fucking TV written thing away. So we're working on that. We're still working there. We work for a long time. So a timeline. So I graduated in 2012. Just give you a bit of a kind of like whistle stop tour of what I've been up to. So I graduated in 2012 and I came out of uni being like, I want to be a writer-director. That is what I want to do. And then my mum and dad, who were very patient with my degree in film and media, says, and how are you going to do that? And I went, I don't know. So I went to Australia and became a waitress for a year. And then I came back with a 5-year plan to buy a camera and worked as a waitress while saving up. And it was during that time I was applying to different kind of competitions. There's so many things for, like, you know, when you're young, you're freshly graduated. One of them at the time was called Dream to Screen, which was an opportunity with Cineworld. I was a little bit of a poverty pick, because the deal was we're going to give 5 filmmakers £8,000 worth of equipment to keep and then £2,000 to make their first short film, and it's for people who would never get the chance otherwise. So I was really lucky enough to become a finalist, and when they gave me media training for it, they're like, remember to tell everyone where you come from, that it's the bad part of Glasgow. I was like, I understand why I've been picked for this. But at the same time, I got to make the film. The film won the competition. If anyone went to go see Interstellar an opening weekend in Cineworld, my film played beforehand about a fat guy on a bike. It was awesome. But that first film got me my first job as a videographer. I trained up doing kind of all one-man band filmmaking. I learned every part of the process in various videographer jobs. I got my first art scholarship in 2016, which allowed me to take off work for a year. It paid my bills for a year while I worked on a project. And then I worked in a university as the film producer, which got me through COVID. University wages are really, really, really cushy. So I worked in marketing while still making films, honing my craft a little bit, and it also gave me the money and space and time and the excellent annual leave to go and make some things as well. And then I went full-time freelance in 2021 because the pandemic made me reckless. And I'm still freelance today. So just kind of, I'm going to give a whistle-stop tour about some things that I wish that I'd known kind of coming out of university. So getting to know your industry, mentors, schemes, the difference between working in film and television and digital, balance and well-being, and then there's questions. I do talk a million miles a minute, and I'm sorry. So getting to know your industry. You're going to be offered so many opportunities to network, and you're going to feel so overwhelmed to meet a million different people. You're going to think, I need to meet 100 people in the first year. I need to know all of them. I need all their emails and do that. You don't. Networking takes a huge amount out of you, especially if you're not naturally an extroverted person, which God bless you if you are, but I'm an extroverted introvert, so meeting loads of people drains my battery, so I find it difficult to sustain constantly. I think what you need to do is realise that you don't need 100 people and acquaintances, you need 12 people who get you jobs. So hone in on that. Find out who's hiring runners, who is the person that is connected, who is someone who's like, oh, I know someone who's looking, who's the person that's admin of one of these Facebook groups. 12 people will get you jobs, identify them and be their best friends, because you can be the one that answers their phone call. Know your local authority. Ours is not the Northeast screen. So ours would be Glasgow Film, it would be Creative Scotland, Short Circuit. Yeah, so make sure that you're following any along with their social media and just be aware of them just get familiar with their homepages. I know that sounds really, really dull, but I don't use Twitter for personal use. I've kind of trained my algorithm to present me with opportunities by following these kind of groups, by making sure that anything that I see that interests me I like, because then I've just got a big page of my likes on Twitter that's usually job applications, and then I get served more. So it's I'm kind of using social media to kind of cultivate it by making sure that I'm following all this kind of local authority chat, because they all reshare each other's content. If they're all public body, they all share each other and talk about all things that are going on. Every arts organisation was talking about the film festival last month. It's going to be talking about the short film festival next month. We was talking about Berwick Film Festival last weekend. It's just, and they're all sharing the same things, and you can tap into all of that, and you're just going to be aware of what's actually going on in your area. Your broadcasters, this is Manchester, that's not yours. I'm talking Pacific Key and things. I've put the time in for these T-slide fuckers. So this is, I'm talking about BBC Pacific Key. I'm talking about opportunities that are happening there, looking at the BBC Careers website. Be aware about their Digital First programmes and how they do talent development, and just try and make yourself aware of who's in the building, not person-wise, department-wise. Is there a way that you can get a job in the bite-size education department, or the arts department, or the Digital First social? Can you get a runner job at Gaelic? Just knowing these things that are going on means you can find the specific social media pages, and you know that it's not just a case of, I want a job at the BBC. You can find your way into all the different avenues, because there are people who work in Pacific Key that have worked there alongside each other for 20 years and never met each other and never spoken, because each department's so singular. If you get to know them, then you'll know how to navigate. And then things like charities, the film and TV charity. So if you become a freelancer, just so you know, this charity is your HR department. You can apply for hardship funds. We are in a recession just now and things are hard. You can only apply once every 4 years, but if you are struggling, these people will give you a hardship grant. They will be running courses on how to ask for your right rates. They will be the ones that advocate for you. If anything goes wrong on a job for you and you contact them, they will provide you with legal advice. These people are your guardian angels, so just knowing who they are is and how they can help you is just going to make your little, I don't know, mine's a little spreadsheet full of useful people and information. Festivals, this is Women X in the Northeast. Film festivals is a great way to meet people, and even if you're not presenting work there or taking work there, going along to their industry events, you get good, I'm pretty sure the Glasgow Short Film Festival industry pass is discounted. Even if that's too much, you could probably go to your university, go to the union and ask them for some subs, or ask for a group discount and things. People want to bring new people in. The festivals want new talent in there, they want to foster relationships, they want to meet people, hear about what they're doing, link them up with other people, and then have the work come to them in years to come. So yeah, tips for networking. People go to networking events for people, not jobs. Don't pitch. If someone comes up to me and says, I really like you and your work, I'm like, oh my god, it's so good to tell me a little bit about yourself. And they're like, I'm on this project. I'm like, I'm 4 pints deep. Like, how useful do you think I'm going to be right now? Trust me, like, I've already covered that point, but yeah. Don't pitch there, but be amazing at a follow-up email, especially if you're an introvert or an introverted extrovert. Go to the thing, spot them, send them an email the next day. You never even have to talk to them. Being like, it was nice to talk to you for 5 minutes. They will talk to 50 other people. You don't even have to talk to them. If you send them an email, they'll just assume that they talk to you. The amount of people that I've just managed to find a way into, that I've managed to find their email, I've never met them, and I'm like, it was lovely to talk to you last night. They go, it was so lovely to talk to you too. Honest to God. So I got Alice Lowe to be my mentor. Mentoring. So people are nice, ask them for advice. One thing that I wish that I'd known was know the difference between a mentor that's a couple of steps ahead of you and a mentor that can inspire you. My first mentor through this Dream to Screen programme was Michael Hines, the director of Still Game, and he was a lovely, encouraging person. He was great, and he was on set a lot, but he still answered the phone anytime I phoned him, which was brilliant. But when I'm like, I don't know how a tripod works, he's like, oh, would you like to know how to get commissioned by the BBC? He was a million light years ahead of me, and it wasn't helpful. He could be a listening ear, but in terms of actually knowing what I was going through as a first-time filmmaker, he had no idea. If I had someone who just made their first film, that would have been super helpful to me. So know that the mentors you're looking for aren't the industry professionals that are 10 years ahead of you. You want the people 2 years ahead of you. You want people who have literally just done the thing that you want to do, and they're like, I've just gone through it, I'm still traumatized, let's talk about it. So yeah, identify those people who are recent graduates, who have got their first job in the industry. They should be your mentors as much as people that you aspire. Know what you're asking for. The amount of emails, I get quite a lot of emails from students, and I try to be like as open as I want, but the amount of times people send me an email and I'm like, what the fuck was that? Because it's like, hi, I saw your work here, I really liked it, I really like this thing about it. So I'm a student and I'm really into these kind of things. So if you just kind of keep me in mind for future and whatever, and I'm like, what? Like, you haven't asked me for anything, so I can't do anything. I think a lot of it is not wanting to seem rude, and I get that, but we speak to people so many times, in our careers we speak to so many people all the time, that directness is actually like very, very nice and generous and thinks about our mental load as well. If you're contacting me and thinking, I actually don't know what she can offer me, so I don't want to ask for anything, it's not my job to think about how I get to you. I will tell you that I can't, but I might be able to recommend someone who can. So, get your phones out, because this is a fucking cover letter for when you email me asking me for shit. So this is how you contact people. Dear Sarah, I hope you are well and having a lovely week so far. I'm probably not. I hope you don't mind me reaching out. I came across your work. How is it you know me? Why are you contacting me specifically? Have we met? Do you like my work? Did someone tell you to? Make a connection in my brain. I'm a student / recent graduate at this. I'm currently working in role while aspiring towards this. Are you working part-time in a bar right now so you have time to write? That's useful for me. Have you just got your first time job but it's in the wrong section and you think you might actually want to transfer into this section? Are you working in non-fiction, want to work in fiction? I'm still new to the industry, so trying to build up my network and connect with people I would love to create work with in the future. The reason I want to connect to you is tell me how you think that I can help you. Be honest and stuff, and if you're just like, I actually don't know how you can help me, but you seem to be someone who speaks to people a lot, and I think it'd be great if you could speak to me too. Would you be up for an introductory 30-minute chat, either in person or on Zoom? Everyone can give you 30 minutes of their time. If they don't, they're dicks. I would love to introduce myself properly and pick your brain if you have the capacity. If this month isn't good to you, I would be happy to circle back at a later time. Someone might come back and be like, I am so swamped, can you message me in June? And you go, it's in the diary, I will email you in June. Hope you are well, warmest regards. P.S. If you'd like to see my work, here is a link. Don't send a bombard of your entire thing, give them a little flavour of what you're doing. You're asking to make an introduction. You might think, I have a 12-step plan about how we're going to be best friends and make work together for the rest of our lives. Don't say that in your first email. Give them something small to go with. So yeah, this is what I want. I want people to ask me for stuff, but they need to let me know that it's not my job to figure out what it is that you're looking for. Be brazen. If you're just like, hey, next time you're on set, would you mind having someone come along as an extra pair of hands? Because if they're just like, usually it's sure. I have been on so many schemes. I am Scheme Queen, Dream to Screen, Sky Academy Arts, Less is More. The amount of development stuff, most of these are unpaid, and it's really frustrating because it is professional development and it is great. But a lot of the time, I had a course today, I'm currently on BBC Voices Scotland, who said that I'm not allowed to let anyone know that I'm on this cohort until the cohort finishes, until I'm snapped up and given a job. So I have to do this unpaid cohort and not tell anyone about it until the course is finished, in case I get the thing the cohort's meant me to get. So it's very frustrating. But that's 2 hours every week on a Wednesday, like people don't have actual jobs. So it can be really, really frustrating navigating this, but they do lead to certain things. I have loads of connections now all across the UK from different cohorts that I've been on, And there's a huge amount of schemes that are designed to support 18 to 30-year-old or emerging filmmakers. We're getting a little bit more progressive with the language of emerging filmmaker instead of like, you know, setting an age limit on it, which is great. But there is so much out there for you. Like, so just, again, train your algorithm, make sure that you are applying for this, and be smart about it, because applications take so much time and mental load. Train your algorithm, enough with the algorithms, you know. Yeah, so train your algorithm to sell you these opportunities, and be smart about applying for them, because they take up so much time and energy. Have a document or a Google Doc or something that has different versions of your bio, and every single thing that you write it in a document first and then transfer it onto the online form. The amount of times I've got an interview for something and I don't remember what I pitched them. So I go in and I pitch a film and they're like, that's not what you pitched. That's happened to me twice because I didn't save the application. I once went in and pitched a comedy about breasts when I'd pitched a drama about a dead mother. So when they said, tell me more about your idea, it was a bad interview. So we had a laugh about it, it was fine. I didn't get the thing, I didn't get to make that film, it was really upsetting. But at the same time, I was like, lesson learned. If it's an online form, still write it in a document first, because with every new application, you can put things that don't work, put on the compost heap, and then pull them into the things that do work, and just save everything, cannibalize yourself. This was a section on finding your voice. Any writers in the room? Yeah? This is just a really quick thing. I'm not showing the film. This is something that I come back to with all of my writing. I'm kind of skipping over this for the creative. But whenever I get stuck about what to write, I've judged the AirTV Oscars a few times, and the films that always connect with me are the ones that I can tell that there's a personal connection. The ones that are about gang violence and people getting shot in the head in Stirling, I'm like, really? I'm like, no shade on anyone in this room, but at the same time, you can tell if it's not authentic. You can tell if there's no connection. Every story you tell should be able to connect back to this grid. Everything I do lives on this grid. So I am, and I fill this out, as serious or as silly as I want. I am big sister, freelance, ambitious, queer, terrified of sharks. I like and dislike, and what I mean by that is these are things that I care enough about, either one way or the other, that I can talk about, and then scenarios I can draw from. I've been to a wedding, I've been on holiday. These are like things I know. This film, Scare, was made for the 40-hour film challenge with just myself. So I wrote it, shot it, was in it, edited it in 48 hours. It cost me £9. It's about a pregnancy scare, and it cost me £9 because they were out of stock of the £3 pregnancy test for the prop. And it won Edinburgh, came second in the world, and went to the Cannes Film Festival. A fucking £9 film. And the reason that I did that was it was the first time, because I was ready to quit at this point, because I was like, why isn't anything working? It's because I hadn't figured out that this was what I needed to do. So I am a woman living in a Roe v. Wade world. I am someone who dislikes, I am someone who's had to take a pregnancy test unexpectedly and experience the mental gymnastics that that brings on that 3-minute period. And I'm someone who was very affected in a negative way by everything that was happening at the time in 2019, which is in Alabama and Northern Ireland. I took all those 3 things, and then I knew that I could make something from Scare. And everything I do, you can kind of pull these things together. So what is it about you? What is it you want to talk about? And what's a scenario that you know enough about that you can actually really realistically set it in? Start with that with all your films, and you won't go wrong. There are ways to kind of go about it. I mean, like, Monsters Inc. isn't about actual monsters in the closet, it's about a guy becoming a dad. Like, there are ways for you to kind of like go the next step forward, but it should always start with that grid. How am I doing for time? And I like rattling right over it.
Okay.
So for television, just like fuck, I should have put my timer on. TV. You bastard. TV is a hungry market. I wanted to be purely in film, but I ended up falling into television because there was just more work going there. You have more opportunities to turn things around. With film, people want to be with your development from the start and see you through on like a 10-year development course to get you through to your first feature. In TV, they're like, you got an idea? Can I see 2 pages on it? Can I pay you £600 for those 2 pages? That's actually not for us, but here you go, here's the development money, go spend some time on it. And I'm like that. So I've never had a full episode of a TV written, but I've made thousands of pounds from small ideas that have got little bits further, little bit further and further and further, a little bit more teased out, and it's just a case of, it's not for us, oh, there's something too similar, like, we just think that it's not the right time, or we've got something similar, like, whatever, and that's just what happens, but then it's a case of that still allowing me to pay my bills and work in television. I tested out comedy that is me as a giant vagina. This is me and Kat, who's also an ex-AirTV member, and we did sketches as Lola and Ruby for BBC The Social, which led to a 15-minute mini pilot. It won a Royal Television Society award, and then we got our first 30-minute commission in television, which is a big fucking deal. And that came from sketches. So yeah, your spec script, it's always good to have one, but don't be expected to write one unless people are going to... It's about having a script that you can send off as an example for your work. Make sure it's 1000% you. Throw all the spaghetti at the wall for this script. Make it as like ridiculously you as humanly possible. Make sure no one else could possibly have written that script, not because of how good it is, but because of how you and weirdly you that is. Weirdly specific it is to you, because that's what's going to open doors and stuff. Yeah, the 2-pager, this is roughly what it is. This is what I spend most of my time doing. This is one that I'm actually working on just now. That's what it is. This is what I'm working in TV. I have TV commissions, and that's what they start out like. I don't get to write a script until I've been there for about 6 months working on this 2 pages. It doesn't get any further than that. You have to get so good at writing these to write television. So even if prose writing isn't, I'm dyslexic, prose writing is not my favourite form of writing. I've had to get good at it because I'm not allowed to write the script. And there's a feeling of like, I just want to write the script. Why are you asking me to write something that I'm not good at when just to write something that I am good at? You can't keep writing scripts for free. You have to be paid for your work. Write these, convince people that it's a good idea, that they want to see the script. Use your spec script to show that you can write, and then people will buy the script off you. The BBC rate for a drama is £25,000 to £30,000 an episode. It's £8,000 per episode for a comedy. So way cheaper, but at the same time, if you can get one of these episodes out, and a lot of pilots get commissioned, pilot scripts get commissioned that never make it anywhere. They just get, like, there's so much development money that doesn't need to translate to there. If you can get a drama script pilot commissioned, then you're set for a year. And think about all the things you can do in that time. Pitch deck is pretty much just translating that into a pitch deck. You've seen these before. Your comparables, think about what else is on, why it's sellable. Films, piece of shit. I've made so many short films. Film is a really desperate time right now, but the thing about film that's great is that you're not having to fit into anyone's format. So that's my first film, The Cyclist. This was a series that I did called Caitlin and Greg that was 3 separate films but with 3 different perspectives, one a split screen and one each of each other person's perspective in and outside of a bathroom door. The Magic Word was a hybrid. These were all winning 48-hour films. This is me dressed as Pedro. These are my funded films. This is Candy, which got BFI funding, which was 15k. I got 15k for Bridging the Gap. This was self-funded, but it still cost about like 3k. Film can be anything you want to be. It's highly competitive, and the industry will always be gate-kept. Make sure you're always making things for yourself. You can do everything right and still never be picked. You have to understand that while you are an incredible, like for industry, they pick you, they foster you, and you might never get picked, and there's nothing wrong with you, like that's not anything to do with you. It just might not never happen. You have to make sure you're going through your things, working toward things, having your dream, obviously, but you also got to be okay with the fact that it might never happen, and make sure that you're making stuff and making a career and making sure that you're taking care of yourself. In order that should be fine. I'm skipping the tips, they're probably shit anyway. Balance and well-being, paying your bills. When I graduated with a guy called Malcolm that we were really close friends with, and we both wanted to be writer-directors. And I was like, I'm going to be a waitress so I can actually be a writer-director and make little things with the money I've saved. And Malcolm was like, I'm going to go and be a runner, and I'm going to work my way up the industry. And we had this really lovely moment 10 years later, just a couple of months ago. We were both working on 2 Doors Down. We both hadn't quite made it yet, but Malcolm didn't want to be a writer-director at this point. He wants to be a first AD. I didn't fucking know what a first AD was until relatively soon, because I was making shitty wee short films with no people for such a long time. But Malcolm had realised what he wanted by working in industry, working on Outlander, working on so many different things. And I had worked my way up to being the shadow director, so I was like working directly under the director and learning everything there. And we just had this really nice moment being like, these were 2 very different journeys, but we both got to the same place at the same time, and it worked for us. How how you pay your bills, how you go through it, is entirely up to yourself. It is not a failure for you to work a part-time job. It is not a failure for you to go freelance and go back. The thing you have to do is you have to pay your bills, and you have to make sure that you are well and safe. Fuck any job, no passion, no commitment is worth your health. This is something that I've been realising recently, is that I was like, why am I feeling unhappy in my job? Why am I feeling like I'm having these great conversations and I'm working on great projects and I'm still feeling unhappy? The great projects were happening at the top of the table. I was talking to TV execs about writing TV for them. I'm adapting a really famous Scottish book for television right now. It's everything I have always wanted. Why am I not happy? I'm like, oh, because I am terrified about being evicted because I've not been paid in a while because of it's been a dry winter. So I'm like, okay, I can't focus on this unless this is taken care of. Trust me when I say the more that you focus on securing this bottom part of the pyramid, the better things will happen at the top of the pyramid. And it's really all bullshit up there as well, because there's loads of people who've never had to think about this part of the pyramid in their entire fucking life, and you can tell. And they're just like, what are you talking about? It's really annoying. Your career is a marathon, it's not a sprint. I've been out here, it might terrify you to think that it's been 10 years I've been gunning for being a writer-director. I still don't have my first feature yet. That might be terrifying to a lot of you, but that's just how things are sometimes. I hope it doesn't take you as long, if that's what it is, but you've got to be standing at the end of it. You've got to still be fighting at the end of it. This is a quote from Neil Gaiman, because I ended my presentation like a wanker. But basically, you have to make choices all the way throughout. What this says is that you think of the goal that's far in the future as a mountain. There are a million different paths that get you to the mountain, and each time you make a choice, does this take me closer or further away? There are some things that I would turn down now that I wouldn't have turned down 6 months ago, and vice versa. You have to make every choice as they come to you and just ask, is this taking me closer to the mountain or further away at this time? There is no one thing leads to the other. I think having a 5-year plan is a fucking joke. Like, how are you ever going to predict what's going to happen next and what's going to happen next? But knowing where the distant destination is and know that you're confident in your own self to be able to make those choices that are good for you is going to help. I hope that was useful. I chatted very quickly. I probably went way over my time. But yeah, you all have a cover letter to email me, and I'm about. So thanks very much for listening to me now.